Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning.
Bante.
Now, today also I'm going to give another talk on very, very important discourse. As I mentioned yesterday, we are going to learn a deeper Dhamma now on. Since you have been studying Dhamma, this part is another very deep Dhamma. This is called Parileya Sutta, Parileya. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Kosambi in Govasita Park. Then, in the morning, the Blessed One destined, taking bowls and robe, entered Kosambi for alms. When he had walked for alms in the Kosambi and had returned from the alms round after his meal, he set his lodging in order himself, took his bowl and robe, and without informing his personal attendants, without taking leave of the Bhikkhu Sangha, he set out on tour alone, without companion. Then, long after the Blessed One had departed, a certain bhikkhu approached the Venerable Ananda and told him, now, why Buddha went to Parley forest without informing anybody, without even talking to Venerable Ananda, his personal attendant? Because when the Kosambi bhikkhus had some dispute over a very tiny little matter, and Buddha advised them one whole night, asking them not to quarrel, live in harmony, live in peace, sukha sangasa samaggi, samagganam tapo sukho. The unity and cordiality and friendship among Sangha is good, brings happiness, and their practice becomes good and brings happiness. But these monks did not listen to the Buddha. Second night, Buddha advised them. The same thing happened. Third night, he gave the same instructions and asked them to settle down dispute. Don't quarrel, monks, don't quarrel. But these monks are so adamant, so stubborn, they even did not listen even to the Buddha. So one day, then finally one monk came and said, Venerable sir, you stay out of this. We will become very famous by this quarrel as quarreling monks. So you are clean. You don't involve in this. They are telling the Buddha. And the Buddha thought, well, it seems to be difficult to advise these monks.
Yeah.
That is why he went following day, went for alms round, and after eating, he himself tidied up his kuti, cleaned it, took his alms bowl and 3 robes, and went alone, thinking, well, something will happen to these monks, and then I will advise them. So then, after Buddha left, the monks were quarreling, but one monk went to Ananda, Buddha's personal attendant, and told him, "Friend Ananda, the Blessed One has set his lodging in order himself, taken his bowl and robe, and without informing his personal attendant, that is, without informing even you, without taking leave of the Sangha, he has set out on tour alone, without companions. Friends, whenever the Blessed One set out like that, he wishes to dwell alone. On such an occasion, Blessed One should not be followed by anyone." Okay. Then the Blessed One, after wandering by stages, arrived at Parleya forest. There at Parleya, the Blessed One dwelt at the foot of a auspicious sal tree. Then, of course, something else happened when he was in Parleya forest. An elephant, who also was tired of his herd, when he bring large lead of elephants, when he, with his trunk he bring certain branches to eat, then she-elephants jump and eat it. And then when you want to drink water, elephant calves, baby elephants jump and play with the water, make it muddy. And they were all rubbing against his body. So he thought this was very difficult, very troublesome. I also want to have a quiet life. So he also went to Parleya. And then he saw the Buddha and began to help the Buddha, bringing fruits and nuts from trees, leaves, cleaning his place with his trunk, bringing water for him to wash, and so forth. He took after the Buddha. So it is said that a monkey brought honeycomb and gave to the Buddha to eat, and so forth. Both monkey and the elephant helped the Buddha. While this was going on, a number of bhikkhus approached the Venerable Ananda, exchanged. When they had concluded their cordial conversation, they sat down one side and said to Venerable Ananda, "Friend Ananda, it has been a long time since we heard a Dhamma talk in the presence of the Buddha, Blessed One. We should like to hear such a talk, friend Ananda." Okay. Then it is said that then the Venerable Ananda together with those bhikkhus, approached the Blessed One at Paraleya, at the foot of the auspicious sal tree. Having approached, they paid homage to the Blessed One and sat down to one side. The Blessed One then instructed, exhorted, inspired, and gladdened those bhikkhus with the Dhamma talk. With all these things, there was a now on that occasion a reflection arose in the mind of a certain bhikkhu thus. Okay, Buddha has given instructions, exhorted, inspired, and gladdened them, and still one monk had some doubt. And he asked the Buddha, how should one know? How should one see for the immediate distraction of the taste to occur? Now, how this happened? I don't understand. In other words, he requested, he had in his mind, he did not express in words, but this thought occurred in his mind. Then the Blessed One, having known with his own mind the reflection that the bhikkhu's mind addressed the bhikkhu thus, So Buddha has the Parachitta Vijnana. Buddha had wisdom to read the thoughts of other people, thought reading power, and see that monk's thought. And then Buddha said, bhikkhus. Then Buddha addressed all the bhikkhus. When this thoughts, he saw the thought of this monk, he addressed his answer. He wanted to give the answer to everybody. The question arose in one monk's mind, then Buddha wanted to give an answer so that everybody will know the answer. This Dhamma has been taught by me discriminately, separating this is such, this is such, this is such, group by group, individual by individual. What are they? What did he teach separately? The four establishments of mindfulness have been taught by me discriminately. Four foundations of mindfulness we practice in Satipatthana, Mahasatipatthana, and so forth. And the four right striving. We find in the four right striving in the Noble Earth Path. Prevention, overcoming, arousing, and cultivating. These are the four right efforts. And four bases of spiritual power. That is Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. Desire, determination, effort, and investigation. These are the four. Now, how many taught? 4 by 4 by 4, 12. Then five spiritual powers. What are the five spiritual powers? Saddha, Sati, Satindriya, Virindriya, Samadhi, Panjendriya. Saddha, Sati, Virya, Samadhi, Panya. And these are the Indriyas, that they are chief in this area. Five powers, same Saddha, Virya, Sat, Samadhi, Panya, the same faculties, when you keep cultivating, they become power. Then the 7 factors of enlightenment, that is Sati, Dhammavicaya, Virya, Piti, Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekka. These are the 7 factors of enlightenment. Mindfulness, investigation, effort, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. These are 7 factors of enlightenment. And Noble Eightfold Path. Again, Sammaditi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vaja, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. These are the 8 factors, 8 noble paths. He taught them separately. And what are these all together? We call 37 factors of enlightenment. He taught separately. In regard to the Dhamma that has been thus taught by me discriminately, a reflection arose in the mind of a certain bhikkhu. Thus, how should one know, how should one see for the immediate distraction of change to occur? So Buddha finally said to bhikkhus, why I give you this list? Because I saw in one bhikkhu's mind this thing. How should one know? How should one see for immediate destruction of the change or to occur? Here, Buddha then went on explaining all this in more detail. Here, bhikkhus, the uninstructed worldling, who is not a seer of the noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who is not seer of superior person and is unskilled and uninstructed, undisciplined in their Dhamma, regarding form as self. Now, ordinary person who is ordinary is called putujjana. This is the description of ordinary person, putujjana. So that person, that putujjana, regards form as self. Now Buddha went on explaining in detail that regarding bhikkhus is a formation. Regarding form as self, rupang attato samanupasati, that is a formation. That's a formation. That formation, what is its source, what's its origin, from what is it born and produced? When the uninstructed well-being is contacted by the feeling born of ignorance contact, craving arises, then that formation is born. Okay. Uninstructed worldly person contacted feeling through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Chaku sampasya vedana, sota sampasya vedana, gana sampasya vedana, jiva sampasya vedana, kaya sampasya vedana, mano sampasya vedana. Feeling arises from of ignorance contact. Now he has contact, and in that the person is himself is ignorant, and the feeling arises, craving arises, then that formation is born. That's how the formation is born with regard from the craving. From craving, formation arises, which is born. Then Buddha said that thus bhikkhus, that formation is impermanent. What formation? Formation arose from the craving. That formation is impermanent, condition dependently arisen. Sankatang paticca samuppannam. That craving is impermanent. Anicca condition sankatang dependently arisen paticca samuppannam. That feeling is impermanent. Condition dependently arisen. That contact is impermanent. Condition and dependently arisen. That ignorance itself is impermanent. Condition dependently arisen. When one knows and sees thus bhikkhus, the immediate destruction of the tense occurs. Now, this is how tense ceases, destroy, vanish, disappear, never to return again. And he may not regard form as self. Now, with regard to form, he said, in the 20 type of self-notion arises in the 5 aggregates. That means one sees form as self, rupang atuto samanapati, and rupan, and then the self is form, and form is in self, or self is in form. But he regards, so he may not regard form as self, but he regards self as possessing form. That regarding is a formation, and all as above. That regarding is formation. That formation is the condition and dependently arisen. When one knows and sees thus bhikkhus, the immediate destruction of the tense occurs. Okay, then He may not regard form as self or self as possessing form, but regards form as in self. That regarding is formation. That thought is formation, volitional formation, chetana, sankatang. And the same thing goes as before, same description. He may not regard form as self or self as possessing form or form as in self, but he regards self as in form. That regarding is formation. That is volitional formation, chetana, chetana. And again, it goes through the same thing. This is sankata, patisampanna. This is impermanent, condition, dependently arisen. You see, we see this already. And the lastly of the same, he may not regard form as self or self as in form, but he regards feeling as self, and so forth. Perception as self, volitional formation as self, consciousness as self, self as in consciousness. That regarding is the formation, volitional formation, when one knows and sees thus, because the immediate destruction of the tense occurs. He may not regard form as self, and so forth, and goes on, and just like before, or self in consciousness, but he holds such a view as this. That which is the self is the world. Having passed away, that I shall be permanent, stable, eternal, not subject to change. That is called eternalist view. That eternalist view is a formation. Even that view is formation. What view? Eternalist. Sasatavada in Pali, Sasatavada. And then that Sasatavada was condition, impermanent, condition, volitional formations, volitional formation. And that also is impermanent, condition, the impermanent, and volitional, what you call unsatisfactory. Here we can see the whole thing here, impermanent, condition, dependent relation. This passage we repeat again and again, this passage. Okay? Okay. Now, that eternalistic view also is, although we call it permanent, stable, eternal, not subject to change, that eternalistic also is formation, and that formation also impermanent, condition, dependently arisen. When one knows and sees thus, because the immediate destruction of the tense occurs. Okay, then he may not regard form as self or hold such an eternalistic view, but he holds such a view as this: I might not be, and it might not be for me. I will not be, it will not be for me. That annihilationist view is formation. So he has other extreme. One extreme is eternalist view. Other extreme is nihilistic view, nihilism. Now, in the nihilist think, I might not be after death, After that, I will completely destroy it, vanish, disappear, never rise again. Although he has not destroyed defilements, but he thinks this is it. And it might not be for me. That means this robe, this house, this property, and so forth may not be for me. Not for me. Because I will not be there to possess anything. It will not be. It will not be for me. So I will not be, and it will not be for me. Then that eternal history also is formation. That is whatever is formation, it is impermanent, conditioned, and dependently arisen. While seeing this, immediate destruction, defilement occurs. He may not regard form as self or hold such an annihilationist view, but he is perplexed, doubtful, indecisive in regard to the true Dhamma. This is another problem. Vicikiccha, perplexity, doubtful, indecisive nature in regard to the true Dhamma. True Dhamma is the Buddha's teaching, is the true Dhamma. That perplexity, doubtfulness, indecisiveness in regard to the true Dhamma is also formations. That formation, what is its source? What's its origin? From what is it born and produced? When the uninstructed worldling is contacted by feeling, born of ignorance contact, craving arises, then that formation is born. Which formation? Perfectly, doubtful, and so forth. So this happens all to uninstructed, ordinary worldling, uninstructed worldlings. In his mind, all this happened. And then that happened when uninstructed is contacted by feeling, born of ignorance contact. Now his feeling arises through senses, and that feeling is born of ignorance contact ignorance. And then from that ignorance, craving arises. That all these thoughts also are formations, and therefore formation or volitional formations, sankhara, cetana arises from them. So that formation because is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. That craving is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. That feeling is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. That contact is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. That ignorance is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. When one knows and sees thus because the immediate destruction of the change occurs. So now Buddha gave a very profound discourse in some details. So in 21 places, Buddha said how this change will be destroyed, immediately destroyed, and the change will be destroyed and attain full enlightenment. It is just like in Mahasatipatthana Sutta at the end of each section, because anisthitocha, there is nothing into loke upadhyate. One does not hold on to anything, and he will be not clinging to anything. Anishito, Nishita means holding, depending. Anishita means not depending on anything. Because how can you depend on something which is impermanent, it is shaking, it doesn't have stability, it is always changing. When something is always changing, you cannot hold on to it. And therefore, when one sees impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, then your immediate destruction of change occurs. That craving impermanent condition dependently arisen, the destruction of the change occurs. The feeling is impermanent condition dependently arisen, the destruction of the change occurs. And that contact is impermanent condition dependently arisen, the destruction of the change occurs. And then that ignorance is impermanent condition dependently arisen, the destruction of the change occurs. Now this is summary here. Similarly, in all this, you can see impermanent dependently arisen and what you call conditioned dependent. Sankata. Yesterday I mentioned Sankata. What is Sankata? Conditioned. Condition is something that which is born of causes and causes. That's called condition. This one, conditioned. And this is dependently arisen. And reconditioning this is called Sankara. This is Sankata. Sankata, that is the result. Sankara is activity, conditioning. As I mentioned yesterday, it is like this is like a house conditioned, and repairing it from time to time is called conditioning, Sankara. Okay, that is the end of today's talk, my friends, and I hope you learned something new. And today is Sunday. If you have any interest in learning Dhammapada, you may join me this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Now, let us have some time for meditation. Okay? We have about 27 minutes. Okay. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate to all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures, one comes near again to birth in the womb. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So may all beings be, from the highest realm of existence to the lowest. May all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, friends,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
this is the end of our session today. May all those who are in hospitals suffering from various diseases may recover very soon and return to normal life. Practice Dhamma, practice meditation, and liberate from samsaric suffering. May the doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who take care of these people, and they also find time to practice Dhamma, meditation, liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who have lost their loved ones may still be grieving. May they be free from grief and try to understand the nature of life and practice meditation, understand the Dhamma, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in trouble spots, war zones, discrimination, poverty-stricken, also be happy, peaceful, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in the northern direction, northeastern direction, eastern direction, southeastern direction, southern direction, southwestern direction, western direction, northwestern direction, up and down below, all of them be well, happy and peaceful. May they also be free from samsaric suffering and attain enlightenment, attain Nibbana.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, friends, that is all we can do today. If you would like to join me for Dhammapada talk at 3 o'clock, you may do so. And otherwise, see you next Saturday.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante, so much.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu.